What's up guys, it's Drac, and this is the FoxFire MBS. Now, I think that stands for Modular Blaster System. That could be wrong, I am not 100% sure. You can see that this one here says full auto on the side, and then over here we have Impact 498. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what Impact 498 means. This blaster was not necessarily designed for me. It is in black and red, so it's easy to make that mistake. A lot of the stuff that I make is obviously in black and red, and I'm a big fan of black and red blasters, particularly in the 3D printing space where you can print in any color. Printing it in colors that make sense with your character is really cool. So, this was handed to me at the end of FoamCon, and I was just, it seemed like it was just a gift, but I had to make a video about it because it's really, really cool. And I want to kind of explain what makes it cool. So we have a lot of these 3D printed flywheel blasters. There's this one, there's the FDL. I'm just pulling this off the shelf because it's here, but this is Rain, which is super compact. You can kind of see what I mean when I'm like, this is so small, because it's smaller than this minus its entire flywheel cage assembly. And that's something that we can talk about. So what makes this modular? Why is it an MBS? And not just like Rain, which only does one thing. Like Rain is a flywheel blaster, takes magazines, shoots darts. This does a lot of different things, but it's still a flywheel blaster that takes magazines and delivers darts, but it's separated into 3 sections. So this handle section is the pusher mechanism. Now I'm sure that there's a semi-auto version of this. This one happens to be full auto, which means that it's a little bit larger. It's also where the battery is stored. I don't want to pop this off, but this area comes off, and there's a full 4S lipo in here. Now 4S lipos are serious. Like, that's a lot of heat, a lot of current, a lot of amps that we're pumping through this system, and it needs it because if you look very carefully, the front end segment has 2 flywheel cages, so it's actually an afterburner dual stage. I assume that means that the motors are staggered in such a way that that makes sense. I'm not sure what motors you use in a dual stage. This thing is delivering some pretty ridiculously high FPS, and then the middle is just the mag well. And so you can of course change that up as well. Different jam door options, the wires run through that magwell section, but most importantly you can pick what kind of magazines you want to run and whether or not you would like this attached. So this is kind of cool because what it does is it gives you extra magazine storage so that after you've reloaded this one you can just pull this off and slap it home. So that, I think, is a pretty neat feature. It's also like kind of offsetting some of this dichotomy. This blaster would not be symmetrical either way because the front end comes off to the side to accommodate what have to be 180 motors if we're using 4S, and then this kind of brings it back the other direction. I'm right-handed, which means that this could never be holstered on me because of that extra magwell, but you could always replace the entire middle section and then just have a regular streamlined flywheel blaster. So it's about Strife size. It's a little bit bigger, but it's obviously doing way more. So I'm just gonna fire it for you now. I feel like that is a really good way to go. And you guys can see that, like, the double flywheel system, it looks like 2 3D printed cages, a ton of dart chafe in there. We've got this muzzle device attached to the front end of it, but it's using cyclones from Containment Crew for both wheel systems. So let's go. I'm telling you guys, full auto is serious. Check it out. I like that. It's electronically locked, right? So it only fires when you are revving it. But the kind of clack, 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 clack is really cool. It's a very mechanical, responsive trigger system. So I think that it's sweet. The full auto is very interesting. It's actually very snappy in its rate of fire, but also just it's getting really good FPS performance, and that has to be because of the afterburner setup. I'm pretty sure it's getting higher than any single stage outside of like Eclipse, which destroys darts. And I'm actually looking at all the darts that I just fired right now, some of which were pretty point blank, and they all have their heads attached, so that's pretty cool. I can't, the rate of fire is so snappy I'm having a hard time getting single shots off. Okay, I figured it out. You just have to feather it very lightly, kind of pluck at it. But that is this. Let's talk about what makes it modular and what makes it special. I've already mentioned that all 3 of these sections are going to come apart, but I kind of want to show you how that works. So first off, we're going to hit up this thumb screw, pull it apart, and really we're just talking about the system. There is an in-strike stock attachment in the back so you can make it bigger. There is a sling point down here. There's a lot of features in this blaster, like it's taking a lot of the good stuff from the hobby. Like, check it out, this full auto system must actually be very petite because this is a serious 4S graphene, and I don't know where the full auto pusher has to be down in here, but if it's fitting exclusively in there, and this was more battery than anything else, so I think that that's pretty cool in and of itself. To get it apart, it's got this, I don't know if it's necessarily unique, but I haven't seen it on any other 3D printed blasters. So there's some screws here and here, and then there's like a latching docking kind of system. So it's both mechanically and then also mechanically fastened, no adhesive. So you can see, there we go, this kind of separates out, and then the sections are held together by XT60s. XT60s are quickly becoming just like the standard for our hobby. They carry all the current that we need very safely and very well. Bobo has used XT90s in the past, but I don't think that that's necessary at all, as evidenced by the fact that this is a 4S LiPo delivering 65 Cs of current, so that's pretty serious. But there you have the barrel section. The barrel section is most of the weight of the blaster with the battery out. You guys can see there. The front end is just OFP dual stage afterburner cages and cyclone wheels. It looks good, like that is solid, so that's the front end. And if you ever wanted to go down to a single stage, it is that simple. You could do it on the field. You just pop it off. Maybe not on the field, but like between rounds. You guys know what I mean. That connects, and then these latches here just go in and drop down, and that's what locks you onto the platform. And then similarly from the other end, you can remove from the mag well these two screws. And I assume that this is also going to connect via XT60. This is kind of funny to me. It's finally a use for male XT60s in our hobby. I only ever use males to change up my graphene 950 batteries. And there we go, that removes. So this actually goes all the way through from the pusher box. So it only has two sets of XT60s plus the one for the battery, or one set. And this just goes all the way through. You can see that there's a panel inside here that separates that wire conduit going all the way through. This is just magwells. The only thing in here is the release for this and the release for this. Now, interestingly enough, all of these parts are clamshell, so you could divide them Nerf style as well. But just like a really cool flywheel blaster that legitimately is super modular. It comes apart into 3 different pieces, and there's multiple options for each one of these. You could get a semi-auto box, you could get a single stage front end, you could get a single magwell, or you could even start staggering these together for like jungle mags. I think that it's really, really cool. My ideal setup would probably be this. Actually, the full auto is what makes this really snappy. I would want one more of these on the other side to kind of balance it out, and then who knows, like maybe something brushless on the front end, which means that I'm essentially just describing an FDL with magazine storage built in. But this is a really cool system. A lot of it, I think, is open source. I know that the flywheel cage, at the very least, is open source stuff, and then I think that you can find them on Etsy at FoxFire MBS. I will put any links that I can find to like their social down in the description box below, but just what a cool system, and I wanted to give them a shout out. I wanted to show off their product, and I wanted to thank them again for this. Like, this is truly just a very tremendous gift. Just looking at parts alone that went into this, like, this is not a cheap blaster to build, and so to give it to me with no expectation of a video at the end of the event was just a tremendous kindness, and I really, really appreciate that. So I look forward to using this personally at a few different wars, getting a feel for how I like it, but I've been goofing around with it for about a couple of weeks now in the workshop, shooting my intern and stuff with it, and I really, really, really enjoy it. Like, it is very cool. So thank you guys very much for watching. Ouch! You gotta be careful when you're holding things and you do gestures that are in your muscle memory. Sometimes you crunch your fingers in magwells, but much love, Nerf on, Drac out.